What's up, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Money. I'm Mike, and today we are going to be taking a shot at the conventional wisdom that your home is an investment. But first, if this is your first time here to the channel, be sure to subscribe to grow your wealth, increase your success, put you on the road to financial freedom, and smash that like button for me for the YouTube algorithm. So it's pretty commonly held that a home for your personal use is thought of as an investment. A lot of people say that it's their biggest investment or it's people's biggest investment. And I think that if a home is your biggest investment, that you're likely going to be less wealthy than you could be forever. Because when I look at what an investment is, I like to apply two tests to it. One, does it increase in value? And most people would say, yes, absolutely, a home's increase in value, and they do. However, it's not a lot, and when we factor in inflation later on in this video, it's really not that much increase in value at all over time. So I'm going to say not really to that, even though it does go up in value a little bit. And then the second thing that I look at is, does it throw off cash in the form of dividends or something like that? And the answer is absolutely not. And as a matter of fact, it ends up taking up a lot of your cash. And we are going to get into all those and how to really look at this and do the numbers in this video. So there's a lot of folks that pitch homes, and when I say that, I mean primary residences, not multifamilies, not investment properties, but just your home as a primary residence as an investment. And the thing that you got to look at with a lot of these folks is that they have skin in the home game, be it in the buying and selling, financing, or just pushing that for tax purposes. There's nothing wrong with these people. It's just that you have to take everything that they say with a grain of salt. For example, real estate agents, they will always say that your home is an investment, and they need people to buy and sell homes because they need to make the commission off of selling their homes. The government says that homes are investments. They want to have as many homeowners as possible. Reason being, they want to tax your home so that they can have money for whatever that the government wants to do with it. Home building groups need you to purchase homes, so it behooves them to get you to think that a home is an investment. That's an easy way to sell people on new homes and moving up to bigger homes because it's a bigger investment, right? Also, banks, they need to make loans on homes to make money for themselves. So of course it makes sense for them to say to you that a home is an investment. And hey, by the way, we can provide you with money to buy an even bigger home than you were thinking about. So just keep in mind that all these people, while not bad people or anything, and I don't fault any of these folks, they do have an ulterior motive that they need to move homes to make money for themselves. The way I look at a primary residence for a home is it's at best a forced savings account after inflation is calculated. It's a forced savings account that allows you to build up equity in a asset, but that you will either need to refinance or sell in order to get that money back out of it. So it's a very hard and very long an expensive process to do that. And we're going to start with the transaction fees. So anyone that's done this, buying or selling a home, knows that it's a pain in the butt to do. Typically, you got to get your house ready. That costs money. You have to clean it. You have to have showings, people coming in and out of your house, inspections, whatever. And all those are a hassle up front. But then you get into the transaction cost. If you want to list your home on the MLS, you have to use a realtor. And typically, realtors get a 6% commission that's split between the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. And then in each one of those, they split that money between the broker and the agent at a ratio that they determine themselves. But to sell your home, to get that money out of it, you're going to have to pay 6% to get that money out of your home. In addition, to buy another home, you're going to have to pay 6%. And now I'll always say, well, the seller pays the realtor's fees. And while that's technically true, what are the chances that they have determined what they want to get for their home and then marked it up by 6%. Now, maybe they don't get all 6%, but the buyer is going to pay that fee one way or another. To buy and sell a home altogether will cost 12% to somebody. If you compare that with a lot of other investments, especially market investments, 12% is absolutely ridiculous. You can get in and out of stocks or ETFs or mutual funds for sometimes free, and usually just a couple dollars per trade using these online platforms. The way that you have to go through realtors, through the MLS, through all that, and pay all this money just makes this homeownership not necessarily what I would consider an investment. Now, you could try to sell it yourself, and there are people that do that, but you take on all the responsibility with the contract process, with inspections, with representing your home in a fair light with no protection. You have to field all the calls, and then someone may still bring a realtor, and that realtor is still going to want their 3% cut of that 6% altogether. The next thing that really makes homeownership not an investment for me is that it needs constant maintenance just to maintain its value right now. For example, if you are investing in a stock or a real estate trust or something like that, I doubt if they're ever going to ask you for maintenance fees. You're just assume that they take that into account with their financials, and then they pay you the dividend or the value goes up or whatever. A home needs constant maintenance, and I looked online, and the average is about 1 to 4% per year. So on your average home of $200,000, you're looking at $2,000 to $8,000 per year just in maintenance costs. And some of these maintenance items cost a bundle. Like if you need to put a roof on, it might cost you $10,000 to $25,000. If you need a new furnace and air conditioner, you could be looking between $6,000 and $20,000. Some of these items can cost a ton of money, and if you don't have it, it's a really big problem. And that's not exactly what I would typically consider an investment. Next, you're going to be taxed annually, which is totally out of the investment realm. Typically, investments are taxed when they are sold. So you buy a stock and you sell it. If you sell it within a year, you have to pay ordinary income tax bracket taxes on it. If you wait longer than 1 year, you can pay long-term capital gains taxes at a much lower rate. But if you hold that investment for years and years and years and years, you may get taxed on some of the dividends, but you won't get taxed on the entire amount. Not so with real estate. Not so with your home. You are going to be taxed every single year. The average nationwide tax rate is 1.1%. So $2,200 on our typical $200,000 home. However, these rates vary widely. And folks that are living in, let's say, like California or New York, they know that their tax rates are super duper high on real estate. So this could be well in excess of the 1.1% nationwide average in the US. And that's another one of these things that just really separates, for me, home as a primary residence from an investment. And then finally, the home that you have is subject to your surroundings, and it's subject to the things that go on in your neighborhood. For example, if a prison is built right behind your home, that will probably not be great for your home value. If you move into a nice neighborhood and all of a sudden it starts declining in value, for example, people aren't taking care of their homes, they're parking things all over, it gets junky looking, the value of your home will also go down. Versus if you invest in a company, they can get in and out of products, usually within their same lane, for example, like consumer products. For example, I've owned P&G stock since I was a small child. My parents actually bought it for me and I've just never sold it. They have been in and out of markets, batteries, razor blades, all sorts of things. And they can do that because their investment is not physically located somewhere. But if you buy a home and things happen around it, it will negatively or positively affect your investment in your home But this is why I don't necessarily think that it is an investment, because you really have very little say on what goes on around you other than buying into a neighborhood that you just know will be kept up to a certain level. So now I've railed on about housing and all of its negatives. Where is the positive? And this is what people hang their hats on. It's the appreciation. They say that real estate is always going to go up, and I agree with that. I think real estate and stocks over time will always go up. The market always goes up. But here's the problem with this as well. The nationwide average for appreciation is 3.8% per year for homes, for single-family residences. Now, I know that there are areas that do much, much better and much, much worse. For example, the California market, home prices are, through the roof, for now at least. 3.8% is 2.5 times less than the S&P 500 average going back as far as records are kept. So when you're looking at this from an investment standpoint, you would be 2.5 times better off investing in the S&P 500 than investing in a single-family home for you to live in. In addition, the average rate of inflation is 3.22%. So that takes your total return down to about 0.5% once inflation is factored into this, which is super less than the rate of return from like an S&P 500 fund investment. So let's get down into the nitty-gritty numbers of the thing so that you can see, and it's very easy to figure out if a home is an investment or not. Let's take that typical $200,000 home. If you factor in inflation, your real return is about 0.5% annually for a gain of $1,000. But now if you minus your taxes at 1.1%, which makes $2,200 in taxes, and you take away your minimum amount of maintenance, and as a single family homeowner, I can say that $2,000 is definitely on the low end. You have a net loss of $3,200, which is a 1.6% loss. And that does not seem like there'd be any stopping that loss. There's not going to be some sort of corporate turnaround. There's not going to be some emerging market that this is going to all of a sudden turn around into. And those numbers as far as taxes and maintenance are extremely conservative. Now, let's say that we go ahead and just ignore inflation. Like it doesn't exist. You're like, I don't care about inflation, whatever. Same $200,000 home. If it goes up by 3.8%, you're looking at a $7,600 gain. Same minimum amount of taxes and maintenance on this home. $2,200 in taxes, $2,000 in maintenance. You end up at a $3,400 gain, which ends up being a 1.7% gain. Again, you can find this online in a high interest savings account. So if looking at this as an investment, this would be a very poor investment for me, and I would be looking at a different place to put my money if I'm going to say something is an investment. And then all this is discounted things such as mortgage interest, if you have that, insurance on the home, if you have that, and then anything else that goes along with your home. Like, for example, if you have a homeowners association fee or something like that. We have discounted all of those costs, and those would all work against the gain that you could possibly get from this as an investment. So in the end, the way I look at a home is it's basically a fancy toy. People usually don't treat these things as investments, even though they call them investments. They'll end up doing upgrades and things to them that have no fiscal sense to them at all, because most of the upgrades that you do to your home will not return value on a one-to-one basis. There's usually some sort of ratio where you can recoup 40, 60, 80% of that value if you would go and sell it. With all of that being said, I am not bashing home ownership. As a matter of fact, I have always owned a single family home. Sometimes because I didn't trust my gut and buy multifamilies from the start when I was young. But now I would much rather have a single family home than any other type of residence for several reasons. For me, one of my big personal thing is I think it's great for raising a family. You have the privacy and you have a backyard for your kids to run around in. If you have kids, if you have a dog, a pet, whatever. I like the idea of families growing up in a single family home. That's my personal opinion. If you want to put down roots and stability mentally for yourself, you know that you have a home and you don't have a landlord, you don't have anyone else telling you what to do with it. Making memories in a specific home is always cool. And all the other little minute things that people like about having their own home and being a homeowner. But again, at the end of the day, I don't think that single family homes really make a great investment. You may eke out a couple percent here and there, and it ends up really being a forced savings account where at the end of your tenure there that you may be able to sell it and recoup some or all of the money that you have put into it. So guys and girls, that's my 2 cents on homes as an investment. I don't necessarily think that they are the greatest when you look at it from an investment perspective, but again, that's my opinion. I'm sure that you all out there have your own opinions on this, either with me or against me. Be sure to leave me a comment expressing those and we can discuss it in the comments. I really appreciate you guys watching. I would really appreciate if you guys would subscribe to grow your wealth, increase your success, put you on the road to financial freedom. Be sure to smash that like button for me, and I will see you on the next one.